Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another edition of Slo Ur Roll. We are back, and it's another one of the specials here as we preview the start of the college football season. College football kicking off next Saturday, a week from today, and then the big game in 2 weeks, LSU Clemson. What a start to the college football season. And with the college football season on the horizon, we have guest in studio, Dan Lorenzano, to break it all down going into the upcoming season.
What's up? That's the big game. That's the big opening weekend game you're excited of?
What, LSU Clemson?
Yeah.
Yeah, what other game is there?
I don't know, some Texas, Ohio State maybe.
Oh, I forgot about that. You know what? The thing with the Texas-Ohio State game, though, is like...
Both teams are still going to make it.
Yeah, like both teams are still going to be in it.
But come on, that's
I mean, like Clemson will probably still be in it, but if Clemson can't beat LSU or doesn't look that great, then you know it tells us something about their chances when they get to the playoff. Because we know we're not going to learn anything about Clemson after this game because they play nobody. And I don't want to hear about Miami. Miami hasn't won a big game in like a decade, so. But anyway, so with that on the horizon, it will be pretty much all college football talk here today. And I'm going to open with the big thing that's been grinding my gears for the last couple of years with the NIL and all that, the SEC versus Big Ten conversation. Now, I am not here to say that the top of the Big Ten isn't just as good as the top of the SEC. I'm not arguing that. Ohio State had 14 or 15 players. They won the Natty. Oregon had like 10 players drafted. They can go toe-to-toe with the top of the SEC teams any game, anytime, on any field. However, this conversation needs to die because other than Ohio State and Oregon at the top, and yes, I don't include Penn State because James Franklin hasn't won a big game ever. Yeah, you made the semifinal, but you beat Boise State and SMU to get there. You really haven't proved anything. So it's Oregon and Ohio State, and after that, the Big Ten is pretty bad. And if you want to sit here and try to defend or tell me that going on the road to play what Wisconsin is now, or Nebraska, or Iowa is the same as having to go into the swamp in Florida or South Carolina right now, or most of these other SEC teams, then I can't help you because we're not watching the same sport and you're smoking crack, all right? Just look at the NFL draft. Wisconsin had about 2 players drafted. Florida, who was not that good, had 8 players drafted. By the end of the season, Vegas had put, if they had played Penn State on a neutral field, Penn State would have only been a 2-point favorite. So they had 7 players drafted. South Carolina had 5 players drafted. Go look at the SEC. Go look at the Big Ten. Minnesota had 3. Nebraska had 2. Wisconsin had 2. Freaking Indiana, who made the playoff, had 2 players drafted in the NFL. None of these teams had a single first-round pick, by the way. Almost every single team in the SEC had at least one first-round pick in the first round of the draft. So if you're trying to tell me that they're even comparable anymore, I think you're smoking crack. And in a time where everything is shifting, and the Big Ten and the SEC are becoming like the AFC and the NFC as college football gets more pro-like. I think there needs to be some sort of overarching rule here where the Big Ten has got to get out of conference and play some more of these SEC teams. Because let's be honest, what does Ohio State play? Like 3 games a year that matter? 3 real games a year about? What do you think?
Well, obviously, there's the game. They have the Texas game. They play Penn State.
Okay.
Penn State is still a real legitimate program. I don't get the heat for that. Who else? Michigan. I know they play Oklahoma this year.
Okay, Ohio State stepped up their out of conference thing this year, but they weren't doing this last year.
I mean,
and it's not even just Ohio State. Oregon. If you're Oregon, Penn State, or Ohio State, on average, during the regular season, we're not counting the playoff, what are you playing? 3 games that are true games that matter? Well, where you might have to empty the playbook?
Well, I mean, you look at some of them, USC looks like it's going to be it could turn into a real contender. this is a big year. We'll get into Lincoln Riley soon, but I hate sitting there saying like, oh, the Big Ten is nowhere near as good as the SEC. Again, last I checked, the last 2 national titles went to the Big Ten.
They did.
You didn't even mention Michigan, which, by the way, yes, they had a down year last year, which we all knew was going to happen. They're back in the top 10 recruiting right now.
Yes, they are.
They're doing, and
Michigan can be up there.
Michigan, I think, is going to be up there. You could argue outside of Ohio State, Michigan finished as the hottest team in the country. They beat your precious SEC Alabama, playing at full strength in that bowl game, by the way.
Yeah, well, I know.
And still beat them.
Oh, yeah, no.
So, again,
But I think we put Michigan on the same tier. The only reason I didn't is just because I was going off last season.
Okay.
But yes, I would go Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon.
Penn State.
And you can match them up with Texas, Georgia, or LSU, Bama, whoever you want to put.
I think I do agree the top to bottom, the SEC is deeper. They have Vanderbilt, yes. After that, the other teams, Mississippi State is okay. They have some teams that are just kind of eh. And for years, you look at like Tennessee, I think is a perfect example of this. For years, Tennessee was just treading water, being very meh at best. And they've had, one good year? I know the recruiting has been much better for Tennessee. They did have a bit of a quarterback controversy this offseason, which does not look good for them.
No, it does not.
But again, they do seem to are able to recruit better, which, again, though, it does seem like it's starting to swing a little bit back towards some of the Big Ten. Again, you look at the rankings, the SEC is featured heavily in, I think it's the ESPN top 10 classes, but you still have your Michigans, you still have your Ohio States. Penn State does still recruit great.
They do.
It's just, for me,
but I'm not arguing against the top of the Big Ten.
But it's just like you look at some of these teams in the SEC. Okay, LSU, right? This is a huge year for LSU. Brian Kelly is on the hot seat, in my opinion. If he does not produce this year, it's over for him, I think.
It could be. It could be. Depending on what produce looks like. Listen, if they just barely missed the playoff because they lost a couple of clunkers because they had to go on the road and play South Carolina, but he wins 2 or 3 big games, I think he wouldn't be in too much trouble. But we're getting off topic because we'll get there.
But you look at Ole Miss, right? Lane Kiffin leaves. That program's back in the dumps.
Maybe.
Probably. Okay, back-to-back 10-win seasons is the first time they've ever done that.
I know.
So, again,
but as long as he's there, I mean, listen, Ole Miss is the middle of the SEC right now. What's the middle of the Big Ten? Wisconsin?
I would say Indiana, Iowa. Please do not dismiss Iowa.
If Indiana played Ole Miss last year on a neutral site, I would take Ole Miss by 10.
That would be a fun game, though, wouldn't it? That would be a high-scoring, fun game to watch. But again, I know Iowa plays like it's still the 1800s, but you don't go just to Iowa and just walk in and expect to win. That does not happen ever.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot of teams here. Like, again, I like what Washington's been doing lately. They seem like they might be getting back to where not necessarily to national championship level they were, but they seem like they're building something up. What's the other one I was thinking of? Now I can't think of the Big Ten school.
That's okay, but I'm going to make my last point on this, though. Why there needs to be more cross-playing. In the war of attrition that has now become college football, when the Big Ten team only has to play 3, maybe 4 real games, not only are we talking about being healthier, we're also talking from a schematic standpoint that you can just bury a third of the playbook and never have to use it and never put it on film.
Yeah, watch out for Chattanooga.
That's a massive advantage.
Watch out for Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Watch out for Northern Louisiana State.
Talking as if the Big Ten team doesn't have clunkers like that on the schedule.
I know. But again,
go play in the swamp. Who just had 8 guys in the NFL
Florida
drafted.
Won anything?
That's my point. But they're still talented.
I mean, you always tell me how much, DeBoer's going to fail in Alabama. I don't believe in Alabama anymore. You always tell me you're always knocking down these SEC schools. And now it's time to puff out the chest. SEC, baby, we're the best there is.
Oh, listen, I'm saying DeBoer's going to fail because he has to play in the SEC.
Okay.
If he was in the Big Ten, he probably would have won the conference. All right.
We wouldn't have.
I know. He would not, I know.
No.
I'm being an ass. He would not have won the conference. Not with Jalen Milroe at quarterback.
No, that Ohio State Death Star was fully operational by the end of the year.
I know. It was. You know what helps, though? When you can bury a third of the playbook because you never have to use it.
Or you're not keep running up right at the defensive tackles that won the first and second round of the draft.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the other thing. That maybe the dumbest game plan of all time in that Michigan-Ohio State game. But do you get my point here?
I know. I get the point.
And as we move to this new era of college football where it's like 2 power conferences, there needs to be some sort of rule where I feel like some of these teams have got to go out of conference a little bit more and play each other.
I mean, again,
if we're gonna do this.
We talk about that, but again, I don't think the top programs are hiding anything. I don't think they're necessarily backing away from playing some of these schools.
Yeah, I would like them to knock off 2 of Ohio State's Big Ten opponents and make them play some SEC teams. And I'm not even saying that you have to play the top of the SEC.
Sort of. So you're talking.
How about after you go play Michigan, or not Michigan, but let's say you have to go play Penn State, or Penn State comes to you. I don't really care. Make them have to go to the swamp after that.
What is your fascination with Florida?
Just because they're a mid-tier team, but you look at the NFL draft, they had 8 guys drafted. But fine, go to South Carolina.
I mean, you could certainly do that. That would not shock me if the 2 of them got together and said, "Listen, it's us right now in this entire
after
sport."
LSU wins on a walk-off in OT, in Death Valley against Ole Miss, and then a week later, it's like, go play Texas A&M. Like, come on, man.
All right,
Ohio State's got to be putting these positions.
I've agreed with you that top to bottom, SEC, the schools, it matters more to them, and I get that, and I agree with that. I'm not arguing with that.
Okay.
My point is, though, it's just, the fact that you could sit here and say the Big Ten is nowhere near as good as the SEC, I think is a bit much.
I said
a bit of a stretch,
but like I said, I had the precursor there. I said, taking out the top of each conference. All right, I'm not arguing that the top 8, but when we take that out, when you compare the rest of the teams, it's not close. I don't think it's close.
Okay,
I just don't. But
so do you think if they were smart, they could probably do something they do like in college basketball, where they do the cross tournaments of conferences? Obviously, it's football, so you could probably only do 1 game. But that would be an amazing idea. I feel like the first week of the year, that's what you're doing, is you're saying, hey, we're going to do some sort of schedule where it's the Big Ten versus the SEC, because, again, clearly they're the 2 conferences that matter the most. You could do something like that. That's $1 billion idea right there.
Yeah.
Go get it, boys.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I just think, again, there needs to be some more cross-playing here as we move into this next age of college football. All right, so with that, let's preview the SEC a little bit. Georgia, I think this is the first time Georgia's come into a season with this many question marks. I mean, Gunnar Stockton at least got to play last year. I think they had 14 guys drafted, though. So, and, Kirby, with NIL, he doesn't have the same strangle grip on everything anymore. The defense is going to be well coached. I feel like people are a little bit down on them after losing the Notre Dame game. I don't know what to expect from them coming into the season. I think they're still the highest ranked team other than Texas, who we'll get to in a second. I don't know what to make of Georgia coming into the season right now. It's a real wait and see for me.
I feel like Georgia has entered almost that Alabama sphere where it was yes, there's questions, but you kind of sit there and go, oh yeah, they're going to figure it out. They're going to know what to do at the end of the year. And you have so much room now in terms of like the 12-team playoff and getting in. So I'm not as down on them as you. I think they will figure it out. For all your praise of the SEC East in particular is by far the weaker of the two divisions. So that will help tremendously. Looking at their schedule right now, they've got 2 cupcakes. Then you've got Tennessee, Bama, Kentucky. Could be frisky, but then after that, it's like a whole lot of until Texas pretty much at the end of the year. So you want to talk about some cupcakes, you look at Georgia's schedule. So I do think, I think they'll rebound. I think as the year goes on, they will be able to figure it out. It's one of those situations, one of those rare situations in college sports where you have a great coach in Kirby Smart who is very good with the X's and O's, has an identity, has a game plan. Well, that defense, even I don't care how many people they lost in the first round, that defense just gets reloaded every year.
Oh, yeah.
Every year it's reloaded.
Oh, yeah.
You're always finding someone new on that defense. So I'm not overly concerned. I think they'll be fine. Maybe they don't go into the playoffs as a potential favorite. Maybe they don't get the bye. Maybe they don't win the SEC again. I don't know, but I'm not overly concerned about Georgia. I'm really not, unless injuries start playing a huge role in them.
Yeah, I get you. So moving on to the other superpower who comes into the season. Are they ranked number 1 in the country? Yes, they are. That's Texas.
First ranked, number 1 ranked team I heard that's an underdog since like 1960.
That's crazy. I got such a love-hate, not love because I never love him, but I have such a Jekyll and Hyde relationship with Steve Sarkisian because for years I called him overrated. Then I was like, all right, I guess he's winning a bunch. And then I'm back to that toss play at the 1 against Ohio State. And I was even defending him a bit last year because I was like, I think Quinn's part of the problem. I don't know what to make of Texas. I mean, other than obviously they're talented as hell. Probably the most talented team in the country with everything Ohio State lost. Arch Manning, he couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers. Kind of makes me a little anxious. While everyone's sitting here saying he's going to win the Heisman, I'm a little like, all right, can I watch it first? I got to see it. And then there was something else I saw. I don't know if it was an ESPN or an Athletic article or something. Like, is Texas the next Alabama? And I was like, why? Bama won big games. Steve Sarkisian has done nothing but rack up sexy numbers and great recruiting classes and then fall on his face when it comes time to win a national championship or win a big game. So, calm down. You always trusted Bama in the big moments. You never trust Sarkisian and Texas in the big moments. You think they're capable of winning. You think they're talented enough winning. Many of the times you think they should win, but you never really trust them.
No, it's one of those it's to me it's not much different than Penn State. You got to go out there and actually win that big game. You can't sit here and say, "Yep, we're the best," but we haven't done anything yet. And I don't know who thought that was a great idea, comparing them to arguably the greatest dynasty ever in college football. So it's. I mean, I love it. I will mention with Arch Manning. I like what they did with him. I really did. I like the fact that he got a little bit of time. I do think this stunts a lot of growth for young players of, I'm going to this team. Now I'm switching to this team, switch coaching. You have to build so much up with a quarterback, especially that for me, I liked it. I thought it was good. And I thought that, you could sit there and say he didn't beat out Quinn Ewers. I think that was just a call he made to say, you know what, he's our leader, he's our senior, he's the guy I'm going to trust right now to do it. And it could have been a locker room thing too. He's been here, he's been doing so well for us. They did make the playoffs the year before with him as well. So again, it's not like he's bad. He did get drafted, right? He is in the NFL.
Yes.
So he's not the worst. I think it just has to do more with the timing of everything. Having Arch Manning sit, which, by the way, good for him, Arch Manning. All these kids today are crying about playing time, and he didn't say anything. there was. I mean, maybe there's rumblings. I don't know.
It helps when you're getting paid $15 million.
Right, and right. But again, it's I don't know. Maybe it's because of the Manning name. Maybe he's well coached just in that public type of sphere.
But also, he'd be taking a discount if he went anywhere else.
Okay, but again,
let's be honest. No one can pay like the Texas Longhorns. I don't even think Ohio State. Like they're close, but I think Texas spends more money than that.
But again, it's just to me sitting and watching. It to me is you're going to learn so much more than being thrown out there, and
like Arch is going to take a pay cut when he's drafted. You know that, right?
You told me that. That's why he's going to.
He's not the only one. I got a funny story about that later on in the show.
That's why there are saying, oh, he's going to stay for 2 more years. He's definitely staying 2 more years.
No, yeah, that's a topic. Yes. And everyone's like, no, he's not. I'm like, are you sure about that? Are you sure he's not going to stay? Because he's making more money than he will on his rookie contract. So let's go through a smattering of now the guys that are not Texas and Georgia, the dark horses. Now, I say dark horses. Bama and LSU are ranked 8 and 9. But coming out of the rest of this, you got Bama, LSU, South Carolina. Florida is right now ranked above Oklahoma and Texas A&M. They are 15th in the country. I'm removing them from this equation because
their schedule's brutal.
Their schedule's brutal, and Lagway already went into the season banged up. I just can't trust you. So you're out of this dark horse conversation. I'm putting in Texas A&M, and I'm putting in Oklahoma. The only reason I'm putting in Oklahoma is I've heard a lot of great things about this quarterback, and as critical, and nobody with a microphone in front of them, unless they're a Texas fan, has probably been more critical of Oklahoma over the last 3 years than me. But we know Venables can do defense. He hires the new offensive coordinator. They got a better quarterback now, pretty highly sought after guy. If that guy can just get reign of the offense and make that, get it off Venables' plate and make it good, maybe Oklahoma can be really good this year.
That defense for them last year, for the most part, was sensational.
Yes.
That was a very good defense. And to your point, if they had any semblance of an offense, even average offense, they probably would have been a lot better. They would have finished a lot better. It's nice that I thought a year ago you were burying Oklahoma, and
I'm still burying
the
them.
blue blood's gone. And
I'm still burying them long term, but you opened up the coffers and spent some money on this quarterback, and can you do it every year? I know you can't, because I know you don't have the money, but you decided to go for it this year. Yeah. Now, if it goes bad, Venables is probably done, and now they're really in the shitter, because then it's like, all right, what are we doing from here on in? But, kind of a dark horse, interesting scenario. I'm going to put Texas A&M in this conversation as well, as long as Elko's there. They're going to just play really clean football. They're not going to make a ton of mistakes. That kid that they had at quarterback by the end of last year was brand new. So now he's had more time to learn. Dual threat guy. And Elko, like I said, he knows the defense. He's a hard-nosed, pound the football up the middle, control the game, and we're not going to beat ourselves.
How many players did A&M lose to the draft?
Because
that was a loaded team last year. That was a very good team last year.
I don't think they lost a lot, bro. No, they only lost 3 players.
Okay, because that was I know that.
Yeah, they returned most of the team.
That front 7, I remember, was very athletic.
Yeah, so they're ranked at 19th. I actually think they're ranked a little low or high, however you want to say it. I actually think they're going to be better than that. Again, as long as you got Elko there, they're just going to play clean football. And, that can win you some games. Mm-hmm. The NFL, Bill always said, you lose more games than you win. The SEC the margins have gotten very thin between all the teams. It's a little NFL-like. So, yeah. South Carolina, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of fool's gold there. Sorry, Dad. I know the quarterback's talented. I thought he was a bit of a mess. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. Do I take them that seriously? I don't. I'm surprised they're ahead of Oklahoma and A&M. I'm not surprised about Oklahoma, but surprised they're ahead of A&M. And then you got Bama LSU.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at South Carolina's schedule right now. Don't be shocked if they start 4-0, 5-0.
Yeah.
Going into LSU, like no weeks off in the SEC. Yeah, watch out for Stanford and Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt.
I'm excited for them, though. I'm excited for their fan base because they are going to be good. They're going to be better than they have been in years. And for the first time, you can actually talk yourself into the idea that you had an outside shot to be in the SEC championship or make the playoff. I don't think it's going to happen, but for the first time in a long time, you can talk yourself into it.
I mean, that Clemson game at the end of the year is going to be huge. That's going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. Bama LSU. Listen, LSU, the talent on offense, we got this. Joe Burrow returns for his second season in his senior year. You know, they win everything. Heisman winner. Jaden Daniels returns, for his last season after people think he can leave. Takes a massive leap. Heisman winner. Garrett Nussmeier now returning, all right, after a full season starting, returns to Baton Rouge. He could have left, but he didn't. And I think, history shows us that here, when you have this much talent around you and you play at a place like LSU, once you get your feet wet after that first year, that second year, there's no ceiling. So, very interesting to think about here. I have some questions on the defense as they lost some guys. The offensive line has got to be better. They were not able to run the ball all that great last year. Part of that were their running backs as well. So they're going to have to get more consistent there. But I think if Nussmeier takes that massive leap, I think there's an argument that he's the best quarterback in the country. I got to see Arch Moore before we have that.
Arch Moore, and I forget his name, the kid from Clemson there too. Don't forget about him.
Klubnik, yes.
Yeah, he's up there too.
He is. Kate Klubnik is.
Yeah, I just, last year watching LSU, it was, I don't know if it's coaching, if it's the players, the scheme, or what. They just, like you brought up the Ole Miss, they just get such slow starts.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, watching their running back. Is it Dyer? Who was the running back there?
Yeah.
He's
slow.
Yes,
He's
like
so
I'm
slow.
watching him and I'm like, you're a starting SEC running back.
Yeah, they're gonna have to run the ball better.
And then I think he broke a toe or something. I think he was playing banged up, so I guess he gets a little bit of a pass. But other than the wide receivers and the quarterback, what is there though in that offense that's getting you excited? You just said the offensive line has to be better.
Yeah.
You said the running back we just talked about was slow.
I think they have the best skills position group in the entire country.
So do you think
other than Ohio State because of Smith? Now you don't know any of their names yet because they haven't played yet, but no one recruits the skill positions like LSU does. I mean, they just churn them out down there, and I'm telling you, this crop of guys right now is damn good.
Are they?
They are damn good. Now I have questions on the defense. It is the second year of the new scheme, though, so maybe everyone plays better, but they lost some guys there. They're just going to have to play more consistent. They're the opposite of what I just said with Texas A&M. The Elko's just going to play clean football. They're just not going to beat themselves. LSU's the opposite.
I saw a clip.
They might be just as talented as anyone in the conference. Can we not do some stupid shit?
I just get so infuriated. Watch Brian Kelly sometimes on the sidelines. Like he's such a. I don't get up. He's such a baby sometimes. The way he throws his hands up and starts screaming at things, slamming his fists on the table during the press conference.
That one was funny.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good coach. I think
he's so likable, Dan.
I know. I love that Southern accent he has too. I mean,
I love how he faked a Southern accent and then fired everyone from Louisiana his first year. We'll talk about that later. That's part of the reason he's in a weird.
Talking about cleaning house that they had to do there.
No. He cleaned too much house. That was the problem. But anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's taken him some time to adjust from Notre Dame, which is the talent's not as good, but those kids, they want to play football. They know how to play football. They're smart. You can coach them. To these other group of kids at LSU, they're just saying, well, I don't know. How much are you going to pay me? I don't really care that much about football. Yeah, I'm going to, I'm going to go joyriding here and go 150 miles an hour down the street drinking with my friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, let's go to Bourbon Street. I know we got a game tomorrow. But, that's LSU for you.
Yeah, it is. 100% that's LSU. And he's got to know how to keep that in the lines better.
Players falling asleep in meetings. And
oh, that's one of the greatest stories of all time. I told you that meeting, right?
Boudet, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I don't know. It's taken... So it seems like it's taken him an adjustment. And again, the thing I find puzzling with LSU, with Brian Kelly and specifically, is again, you watched him at Notre Dame. They were always, like you were talking about there with Texas A&M Elko, how clean they were. I know they were smart, they were physical. That was Notre Dame under Brian Kelly. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that from LSU. I don't know what it is. And you talked about the first year, with the Jaden Daniels, and had they had a competent defense, they win the national title.
No, I know.
It's just like, so I don't know what. From him, I have so many question marks. Like, what is going on with him in that situation?
Well, he has to correct the mistakes that he made when he first got there.
Does he have time to do that?
Well, they have to win enough for him to maintain time. I think he's doing the right things. I think they are on the right track. But the problem is he needs to recover from the mistakes he made. He came in, and for whatever reason, just because he was used to the national recruiting of Notre Dame and his way and blah, 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 that he just thought he could do it his way, didn't care about what was going well already like there before he got there, and just cleaned out the whole building, where it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, you better win, and you better win quickly, because they do know what works down there. Now, it went off the rails, but they do know that if you keep it in-house, you build that fence around the state of Louisiana, and you get guys who have played at LSU, who have coached either in Louisiana at other places and all that kind of stuff, that you can win national championships. So if you want to clean house like that and you want to do it your way, you better win. And he didn't. And that was the problem. Now, he has corrected course, and he has brought in a bunch of those guys back. He brought, is it Corey Raymonds, the DB coach? I forget now. I have to go back and look it up. He was the individual who, under him, LSU went through that, 5, 6, 7 year span where they were known as like DB University.
Right. And Tyrann Mathieu and all those
guys.
Names.
So that was him. That was him who coached them, and that was him who recruited them. Brian Kelly fired him. You know what I mean? And your secondary sucked. So.
Yeah. Your entire defense was. That year was. I've never seen an LSU defense be that bad.
So the problem is that he just pissed a lot of people off, and even though I think they're on the right track, are they going to give him the leeway to correct the mistakes he made before?
I mean, obviously the playoffs for him is mandatory this year. How deep in the playoffs does he have to go? Does he need at least a win in the playoffs?
It depends who they played. I think it all depends who they played.
Okay, so if I'll throw out an example. Say they lose in the SEC championship game, make the playoffs, and lose to Ohio State.
Oh, he'd be fine.
He'd be fine.
He'd be fine.
Okay,
he'd be fine.
Because to me, I mean, for the way the SEC works, if you win the SEC championship,
let me tell you what he's not allowed to do. As crazy as this is, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's not allowed to do this. He's not allowed to lose to Alabama. If he loses to Alabama, he will be fired.
Okay.
I
actually fully understand that.
Unless they go on some crazy run and make it to the semifinal. But if he loses again to Alabama, I'm telling you, he's in deep trouble.
Okay.
They are not allowed to lose. As crazy as that sounds, I'm telling you, he's not. And I have spoken to people about that. Like, I'm not just coming up with that.
That does not surprise me. I mean, you look at it, and LSU and Alabama have this huge rivalry that goes, decades now from this year. And yeah, you can't, you can't. You're not Georgia. You don't have these national titles to fall on and say, "Yep, sorry, we keep losing to that A on the side of the helmet for whatever reason."
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I fully see. I mean, I feel like Ole Miss might be another one he can't lose to again.
He's beaten them enough that it won't be the end of the world.
I don't know.
Listen, they can stomach a loss to Ole Miss if they beat Alabama.
Okay.
And if he beat Clemson and Bama, he definitely can lose to Old Miss.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
not going to care about that. But let's turn our attention to Alabama now. Interesting thing. I've been down on DeBoer. I didn't think it was going to work that well. Having spoken to the people down there and stuff like that, they were sort of walking on eggshells when he first got there because, the mass transfer of all the Nick Saban guys, and they really didn't want to lose anybody else. So he didn't fully get to implement everything he wanted to do. And now they're in a position where they actually had a lot of guys, by the way, who could have gone to the NFL draft this year and actually decided to stay. So he's in a position now where I believe he's got a very good chance to win. But if he doesn't win, he's going to be in some trouble too. Because second year, they're fully implementing everything they want to do. Their strictness, their game plans, their scheme, everything. There's no meshing of the Saban thing. There's none of that. Everything DeBoer wants is the way it is now. And they had a massive amount of kids come back to school, even though they thought they were going to go to the NFL draft. Kalen got them to stay. So he's got his own guys in there. He's got his system. He's got everything set the way he wanted it to now.
And he's not hamstrung by the quarterback anymore.
And he's not hamstrung by the quarterback. He's not hamstrung by the quarterback, bro. My issue with DeBoer, beyond obviously the cultural fit, is I see DeBoer as just a really smart and a prep monster. And that was great in the Pac-12 where, you played 3 or 4 big games. So, you could just prep monster for those 3 or 4 big games, have some of the most amazing game plans you've ever seen, and just, wipe the floor with the team in the first quarter or quarter and a half.
It does help.
The problem is in the SEC, when you have game after game after game every week that is going to be tight, it becomes a bit more about culture and you know what I'm saying? And I have never seen him be able to do that. And this is why you get blown out by Oklahoma. You lose that bowl game to Michigan despite the fact that you had everybody there.
You give
just losing a lot of games that you shouldn't have lost. And again, he blows out LSU a quarter and a half in because he preps for weeks for that game. But you get blown out by Oklahoma. You look terrible against, was it Kentucky they looked terrible against? I forget. It was someone. Yeah. Oh, didn't they lose to Vandy?
Yeah, they lost to Vandy. Vandy dropped 40 on them.
Yeah, you lose to Vandy.
The week after you beat Georgia, by the way.
Yeah. So I know he can play. He's like the opposite of Steve Sarkisian or Dan Lanning. I know you're going to be really good in the big games. But all the other games, you're pretty questionable.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing I saw from him that made me wonder with him was after the Georgia game, and he's all over ESPN. He's all over the TV and radio. You got to adjust. You're not in the corner of the country anymore where nobody cares. Mm-hmm. You are in essentially the heart of college football in Alabama and the SEC. You are going to have a media presence at all times. Mm-hmm. And when you start winning that big game against Georgia, you're going to have, and it seemed like he struggled to kind of adjust to that, to cope with that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I feel like that if he's able to kind of get that under control, maybe the prepping is a little bit better for those smaller teams or the unknown teams. And again, I know Milroe got drafted before Shedeur Sanders. I don't know how. Mm-hmm. That wasn't his type of quarterback either.
No, it's not.
I mean, you look at Penix, you back to Washington, those monster performances they had on offense. You also had a top 10 pick at quarterback. That helps a lot. So I do wonder. Now, he does have possibly the best player in the SEC on offense as well in Williams. Mm-hmm. So that will take. I mean, Williams is just a monster.
Oh,
it's him and is Smith, is that his name in Ohio State, the wide receiver?
Yeah.
The two of them, one of them's going to win a Heisman. And I wouldn't be surprised one year if it's them 1 and 2 in a Heisman conversation. So, I mean, the talent's there. You're still at Bama. And again, yes, Nick Saban left. I get that. That's a huge blow. Mm-hmm. But you still have the way college football is now. It's no longer just the one guy. It takes the whole school and the architect to build that. That architect and structure for Alabama is still there. They still have the money to pay for things. They still have all that foundation, the locker rooms, the
They
weight
have
rooms.
some money.
But I mean, like, they still have a ton of that there from when Saban was there. Like, it's not like this massive brain trust is just gone from them. And I do think, the second year will be better for him. Again, he's not going to be hamstrung by Milroe, dropping back and just panicking and chucking the ball to Williams, which surprisingly worked most of the time, or just taking off and running. I mean, even Saban couldn't get Milroe to be a really good quarterback. So, I mean, I am excited for Bama this year. They do have a tough schedule, so we'll see how it goes. But I am actually excited for them this year. But a lot does ride on him this year. If he does lose some big games or he doesn't make the playoffs again, there will be questions. And
there'll be some serious questions if he doesn't make the playoff.
I've heard a lot of national media saying it's almost championship or bust for Bama this year, which I'm like, I didn't understand that.
That's a bit much.
Right, considering what's going on in everywhere else. But
I mean, you can't.
So
He
used to
can't.
it.
I tell you right, he can't lose to non-conference teams. I mean, non-ranked teams. Like,
You can't lose to Vanderbilt again.
that'll be a death sentence. And the expectation is that they will be in the playoff. That's the expectation.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the playoffs. I don't see them going very far in the playoffs.
I don't either.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they made it if they're like the 8th, 9th, 10th team in. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm going Georgia. I'm going to say Georgia does not make the SEC championship game this year. I don't think so.
So who's making it?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
SEC East.
Didn't they get rid of I thought they got rid of the divisions now in the SEC, though.
Did they?
I think they did.
Okay.
I'm going to go Texas.
See, that's the problem. Is like you look at Georgia.
I'm going to go insanity.
No, don't say it.
Texas plays Texas A&M
Okay.
and the SEC
As long as it's not
championship.
LSU.
LSU still makes the playoff, but they don't play in the. But they do not play in the SEC
kind of at this
championship.
point, the way they work it in the schedule is, all right, 4 teams from the SEC is probably making it to the playoffs. 3 or 4 teams from the Big Ten are making the playoffs, and after that, it's the ACC
I'm going to go Texas,
championship.
Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU, all make the playoff from the SEC. Bama doesn't make it
Okay.
because I don't believe in them. I just don't. I thought it showed he did not adjust well to the SEC last year. I don't think their quarterback play. I don't think they're that talented at the skill position or quarterback area.
Outside of Williams.
Outside of Williams. I'll tell you, the quarterback play in the SEC is going to be insanely good this year, though. I mean, we'll see what happens with Logway. But anyway, all right, with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, talk some NIL a little bit, some new programs on the horizon, some more thoughts on Arch Manning, and we'll dive into more of what I talked about with the LSU and compare it to where Lincoln Riley is at USC. So stick with us, guys. And we are back here at Slo Ur Roll. Moving on. Listen, the NIL. I have some issues with it. I don't think schools should just be writing checks for you to play. It should actually be name, image, likeness. You should actually, do something. But while everyone wants to complain and bitch, first off, the cat's out of the bag, like it's never going back. But anyway, there's one thing about it that I do love. It's not fair in professional sports that the Los Angeles Rams, who nobody cares about in their area, get to win way more than the Cleveland Browns when that fan base in Cleveland just cares so much. And at least with NIL, it matters. How in is your fan base? How in is your alumni? How in is your base? Because if your guys are all in, you're going to win. I'm not saying you're going to win national championships, but you're not going to suck. You're not going to be the Cleveland Browns.
You're going to compete.
You're going to compete, okay? I'm sorry, USC. You should have more money, but your people don't care that much. They don't care as much as they do in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Okay? They just don't. Oregon, you have one of the richest alum guys in the country. He built Nike, and he cares. So you're good. All right? Texas Tech has multiple people now who went to the school, and they care about football. And Lubbock, Texas, which, by the way, they have oil near there, they care about football. So Texas Tech is going to be pretty good now going forward. sorry, Pac-12, UCLA, your base doesn't care. So that aspect of NIL I love, because I do feel bad for like Browns fans or, Cleveland Guardian fans or the Pittsburgh Pirate fans who do care so much, but your owner's a cheapskate and doesn't give a shit other than just making profit.
Or Tampa Bay, like, hey, we have the best run organization, but we spend $20 million a year, and that's all we can spend.
Yes. But then, like I said, you have the Los Angeles Rams, who had a Super Bowl parade. My friend was living in Los Angeles and didn't even know the parade was happening that day.
LA traffic, that's probably why.
Yeah. So I feel bad. I do feel bad for that kind of stuff. And that's the aspect of NIL that I do love. That being said, we've done this now the last 2 years, talking about the programs to be on the eye for. SMU is not going to be as good this year, but trust me, they have the money, they have the commitment, they're going to be good, and they're going to continue to be good. But the big one now, and I said this I think a year or two ago, and now it's really come to fruition, is Texas Tech is going to force their way into a lot of these conversations now going forward, particularly because they get to play in the Big 12. So they'll have a much easier road to get there, the same way Clemson does now. I think we're going to sit here in 3 to 4 years, and like I said, it's AFC, NFC, Big Ten, SEC, and then it's just featuring, Clemson, Notre Dame on the outside. Give it 3 or 4 years, it might be featuring Texas Tech on the outside here and there. I mean, in this landscape, you can just force your way in with money.
So what you're saying is all the Texas schools are going to be really good.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
But you don't think Baylor?
No, they don't have the money.
But
Houston does not have as much money as you would think. They have a great place to recruit, but they don't have as much money as you would think. A&M, A&M has a certain level of dysfunction that I don't know how good they'll be. They'll always be good. They'll always be talented. But there's just a weird level of dysfunction in that program.
I feel like A&M is very delusional sometimes, too.
Oh, they're right up there with Auburn.
Yeah, Michigan State type. Like, we're the little brother, but one day we'll be just as good as Big Brother.
Yeah, at least Michigan State, I think, understands what they are. I mean, they try and be better, but I don't truly think that they put the same expectations that A&M does. And I don't even blame A&M all the time for having the expectations they do, because they bring in a lot of talent, they spend a lot of money, but I don't know. There's just a weird level of dysfunction in that program. But yes, a lot of the Texas schools are going to be really good. Shocker. There's a lot of money in Texas, there's oil in Texas, and football is king in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is the state to recruit in.
Yeah.
The state.
So, I mean, am I overdoing it a little bit? Is it still Texas Tech? And probably not.
I mean, I think.
But I just look at it they landed a 5-star recruit a couple of weeks ago. They're going to dominate the transfer portal.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt that, you can call a certain NFL player and say, hey, you want to make a stop for us real quick? I know you're giving us some millions of dollars already, but you got a bye week. Why don't you come by for this come to the game?
Mm-hmm.
We'll take you and your wife.
Yeah.
We'll deal with our antics. That's okay.
Yeah.
Again, the NFL factor with Mahomes, those who I'm referencing, obviously. But
yeah, obviously.
That's huge as well. I mean, he's everywhere. And so, again, you look and you go, okay, we've got this incredible talent from the NFL that is essentially dominating the league. That is always great. And like you said, the money is always awesome. It worries me sometimes, though, with this money stuff, that it breeds impatience. It's going to breed, you talk about this all the time in the NFL, where you get these billionaires buying teams and saying, we're going to do it my way. Mm-hmm. My way works. It doesn't work after a year and a half, 2 years, and they're throwing drinks on fans. And is that going to happen with some of these teams? Mm-hmm. Are these boosters and alumni, are they going to sit there and after a couple of years and go, well, clearly we're not getting the results I want. I'm out now. This is a lost cause for me. Now, some of the bigger programs, the more historic programs, that's not going to happen because it's just ingrained in them. But when you look at a Texas Tech or an SMU, and you kind of go, well, yeah, I'm putting some money in. I want to be good. And then a few years, if it doesn't quite work out, is it going to be, well, you know what? This was fun, but I think I'm going to pull my money now.
I get your point, but to me, what these schools have an advantage of, whereas they wouldn't be in the SEC, where it's just a meat grinder all the time, is they're always going to be so tantalizingly close because they're going to rack up a bunch of wins in their conference that they're going to keep their base invested. Like, you might keep sitting here and be like, damn, we keep losing that big game at the end. We keep
losing the Clemson.
Oh, we just lost a semifinal. But they're going to be in that situation, I think, year after year after year because they're going to dominate their base.
But at what point do you just say, do you look at it and go, okay, we've reached kind of our limits in the ACC or the Big 12. Maybe we need to move on. Try to go to the SEC. Try to go to the Big 10.
Maybe, but that will be a nice influx of money, which would then, help the donors who are like, all right, well, the school also just made more money on top of it.
But doesn't the Big 12 get more money to schools than the Big 10 now or something?
I got to go look at the thing.
It was
exactly.
close.
The Big 12 is pretty lucrative.
Right.
For as much as everyone, the national thing likes to shit on the Big 12 for some reason, I don't understand it. The Big 12 is pretty lucrative. It's a fun
Big 12 is going to be the most fun conference this year.
Oh, I think so, too.
Easily.
Oh, I think so, too. I mean, like, I could make the argument for, like, 4 or 5 different teams to win that conference. The parity is awesome. Like, I think Utah's going to be really good, too. I mean, I don't know about Arizona. I got to go look at what Arizona State lost. But
Kansas State's going to be good.
Yeah, like I think Utah's going to be really good. BYU always finds a way to figure it out. And Texas Tech is probably my pick to win the conference. But, yeah, I think those kind of schools, those SMUs and Texas Tech, they have the ability to – they're always going to – as soon as they reach this level of money and stuff that they're this good, they're going to dominate their base. So – what you're talking about, I don't think is going to happen because they're always going to be so tantalizingly close.
But so when you talk about Texas Tech and SMU,
also let's not act like Texas Tech hasn't won at a decent level before. Actually, they do have a little bit. Now it was only when Mike Leach was there, but they beat a number 1 ranked Texas team. They played Georgia in a bowl game.
Crabtree.
I think they were ranked in the top. They might even have been ranked in the top 3 after that. So they have won there.
I mean, you talk about that their fan base are going to recruit. Are they still going to be able to, even with the influx of money, you still have Texas there, and you still have Texas A&M. They're still the 2 big schools of that state. Is it enough to just say, hey, come play in the ACC, where most of your games are going to be on the East Coast, where family's not going to be able to go? Mm-hmm. Is that going to be an issue for SMU?
That could be an issue for SMU, yeah.
Yeah, and then, Texas Tech, they're in Texas. They won't have that same kind of issue, especially with the Big 12 essentially just being Oklahoma and, Texas and Arizona now. Mm-hmm. So that won't be an issue. But again, I wonder how committed some of these boosters are going to be because it's not going to happen overnight. And even if you get a great year, are you going to be able to have the recruiting to turn over and continue that success as well? And not only that, okay, you have the coach you like. Okay, he has that great year, that magical run. They go to the semifinal, the playoffs. And then, hey, LSU calls. We got rid of Brian Kelly. We want you. Alabama, DeBoer's gone. We want you. That's going to be still going to be an issue for them as well.
Yeah, except, again, they'll be able to match the money that a lot of those schools are going to be able to do now.
If you're going to be at a program that's still trying to ascend and still trying to match what other schools are doing, or you could go to another school, yeah, you're going to have pressure and expectations.
Actually, there's a different look at this that I think some of these schools are going to adopt. Is they're going to adopt a mindset that's different, where they're going to be like, it's actually not about the coach. Like, obviously, you still need a competent coach. But we actually don't need a rock star. We're going to hire an ex-NFL like GM. He's going to run the team, not obviously on game day, but you know what I mean? He's going to run the roster, the money, the paying out, and it's going to be about talent acquisition, and we don't need a superstar coach now because of that. I think a lot of these schools are going to start doing it that way.
Or I guess you could look at it and say, we don't need.
I mean, Tech right now doesn't have a superstar coach.
Right. Like, I see your point, and again, that actually would be great because you always hear about college football coaches getting burnt out because it's a 24/7 job. There's no days off in college football coaching anymore.
Yeah.
So that could work. You could say, hey, we're going to have this infrastructure. We're going to have this GM, all these people here, they're going to take care of that. You just need to focus on X's and O's. I could see that working. And if you're smart, you don't need that phenomenal recruiter like Urban Meyer or somebody like that. Hey, we just want a simple guy who can run the team and run the offense and run everything else. So maybe that does work. But again, I still think there's going to be those programs that are going to be out there saying, hey, those big programs, we want you. Yes, maybe we can't quite offer you more than what you're currently paying. We're going to pay you equal to that, but we already have everything established for you. So all you need to do is come in and do your thing, and you don't have to sit there and keep trying to build while what's going on there.
Maybe, but so far, SMU plays as well as they did last year. They're in the playoff, and yet you never hear about their coach, ever. You didn't hear one word about their coach, because I think everyone understands that it's about the higher up infrastructure and the money that they're doing to acquire talent. And I just think that's the way SMU is going to do it. That's the way Tech's going to do it. That's how I think they're going to do this moving forward. Some thoughts on Arch Manning real quick, just because while everyone else, as they say, he's going to stay in college, and all the national pundits and everyone on the radio was all like, well, you got to say that. He's not really going to, especially if he wins a Heisman, he's not going to stay. And guys, why wouldn't he stay? He's making more money at Texas than he will on his NFL contract, his rookie NFL deal. And he can be in commercials still anyway. Yeah, he'd be in commercials and, he'll get the money off the field. He gets the money off the field at Texas too. If he wins a Heisman, they're in the national championship. If they win a national championship, is he really going to get any less deals and commercials than he would after getting drafted in the NFL? I don't think so. I think we'll get the same amount. If anything, he might get more.
Not with that brand. No, he's. The only thing bigger than that is probably Notre Dame in terms of power for college football.
Yeah, people don't understand this. So here's a story, and yes, it's out of Baton Rouge. I'm not going to say who the player was because obviously I'm not going to do that. There is a player at LSU who is still on the roster who could have been drafted last year and pretty high. Now, the question was he going to go in the first round, or he might have slipped to the second round? The agent was in the meeting with this player's father and a representative from the NFL, like one of the teams, who said, we really like you, but we might have to use that first round pick on X, and then we hope you're there in the second. And this was like the third or fourth NFL team who said this to him in the meeting. The final time, the agent audibly said what the average amount of money that he will make in the second round. And this player's dad and agent both laughed together with the NFL guy still there. Laughed and said, yeah, we get a third of that from the local Toyota dealership. And that's just on the Toyota dealership.
Was this player?
So he's like, we're probably going to stay in college.
Was this player on a billboard we saw while we were in New Orleans?
I will not confirm nor deny who the player was. All of this is alleged. But yes, laughed with the NFL guy still in the room. That's how much they didn't care when he told them how much the second round contract will probably make.
Do you think
these guys are staying in college longer, guys?
Right.
They're going to do it.
Right, because now it's turned into, before it was get your years in college done as quickly as possible and get out and start getting paid. Mm-hmm. And now with, the locked in pricing that NFL contracts are for rookies, yeah, I can see that. Do you think some sort of cap might be coming for college football?
They're trying to talk like it is. I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it's going to be, first of all, it's going to be impossible to enforce. Let's just say that. But it's just like something I feel like does need to be done. I know a lot of coaches have been outspoken about it. Brian Kelly was one of them as well, saying like, it's the Wild West right now. We need something to rein this in.
I think there's a better chance that you have some sort of like cross-conference revenue sharing, at least within the entire Power Five. I don't think there's ever going to be a cap.
Okay. Because I mean,
I think that's too much.
because
control.
I mean, you look at the situation Tennessee had with their quarterback,
like
and
you like Texas is not going to allow that to happen.
right. I'm not again.
And
like
I don't even mean just UT, like the Longhorns. I mean the entire state.
When I just what I mean is like, yes, that's what I meant by like you can't truly enforce it.
Yeah.
You can't really say no, you know you can't do that. This is the NFL. So obviously I don't know what you would do. Again, unless again more situations like the Tennessee quarterback situation this offseason, where you start getting players, agents start going behind backs of schools, to try to weasel their way out of things. Mm-hmm. That I think could possibly spur some more institution, organization, or structure around this.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if in 5 to 6 years there's a transfer rule that's put into place.
There's got to be a rule to transferring.
There's got to be. There needs to be some guardrails on that. That one's out of control.
So
I think if the most likely thing that could happen, the most likely one is there's some sort of transfer rule, like guardrails that are now put in. By the way, the SEC already has one. That you are not allowed
within the SEC, right?
Yeah, you cannot transfer to another SEC school. It's a certain date or something like that during whichever recruiting cycle. I forget what it was. So the SEC has already actually put parameters up.
Yeah.
So the most likely change that will happen to the entire sport, I think, would be some sort of limitation on the transfer. The second, I put decently behind the transfer one, but it still could happen, is some sort of revenue sharing thing. It would probably only apply to the Power Five, but some sort of, not even just in your conference, like across conference, some sort of revenue sharing.
That would be a tough sell for some places.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's the second one that's most likely to.
Notre Dame would get out of that one.
Having a cap limit is all the way at the bottom. I feel like there's almost no chance.
I know. Again, I completely agree. They put a cap in, teams are going to laugh at them. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we're following that cap.
Yeah, who's putting the cap in? The NCAA? Like, no one cares what they say anymore.
Right.
The NCAA is like 3 years away from folding. Like, if I was Michigan right now, I wouldn't even pay that fine, by the way. I would thumb my nose up to the...
By the way, is that... I don't like...
The Shamir Stewart thing with the Bengals, he was practicing with Texas A&M, and Texas A&M was starting to think he was going to play for them. Now, eventually, the deal got done, so he played for the Bengals, and you're not supposed to be allowed to get drafted and come back. But in reality, who would have stopped him?
Nobody.
Texas A&M would have been happy about it. And what's the NCAA going to do? Texas A&M would have laughed at the NCAA and said... Take us to litigation. I pray you do. Not only do we probably have more money than you, I guarantee backdoor some SEC schools will give us money just because they're like, yeah, we want to be able to do this too someday.
Right.
Like, that lawsuit would have been massive. Because again, if he wanted to do it, who was going to stop him?
Nobody.
No one. No one was going to stop him or take it seriously.
What did you think of the Michigan punishment?
I thought it was whack.
Like, they're sitting there saying, like, oh, they didn't take away wins or the national title. First of all, you're not going to take away the national title.
Shut the hell up.
And I think taking wins away is the dumbest thing you could do. Ever since
That's so dumb.
The Paterno thing and the backlash they got for that, I think...
Yeah, like, we all watched the games, bro. Come on.
Like, they happens.
Yeah.
Like, don't punish others because of that.
It was pretty hefty fine. I thought it was still over the top.
What, the fine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was very over the top.
They're comparing it to KGB and all this stuff. I'm like, really, you guys?
Yeah, I thought it was whack.
And it's funny, they're like, oh, Jim Harbaugh can never go back to college. Jim Harbaugh's 61. He's at his last gig right now. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else right now.
I don't think he is either.
So it's just like, it's kind of funny and like, okay, now you're punishing Moore, who, by the way, he already gave himself a ban already for it. Like... Again, it's just like a toothless NCAA trying to act like it's...
Yeah.
And Ohio State's crying, oh, it's not severe enough. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, what? Take away scholarships? Really? Like, that's going to work now?
It's also like, I mean, I said this before. Michigan did something that was well known
They probably weren't the only ones.
No, the SEC's been doing it for years.
Right.
Everybody knew it. Everybody in the SEC knows that was going down. Every single one of them. It was funny when that report first came out, the reactions from all the SEC programs and coaches.
You know what it was?
They're literally just laughing.
You know what it was?
They're like, guys, we've known this has been going on in our conference for now actually almost a decade.
Michigan's stupid. They just got caught.
Yeah.
It's Spygate all over again when you have all these players, people that are
But
supposedly
they weren't even saying
outraged.
Michigan was stupid. They're saying the other schools were stupid. How did you not know that this was going down? We've known this forever. We adjust. We have barriers in place so it doesn't happen, like changing our signs week to week and stuff like that. But they have security who goes around the stadium and looks for suspicious activity. No, I'm serious.
I'm sure they do.
No, they do. They'd literally be like, yeah, to see if you can find some sort of advanced scout who's doing something he's not supposed to do right now. Hilarious.
Jeez, why is that guy walking on that wrong side of the field there?
Yeah, right? Why is this guy with binoculars alone at this game with a notepad? Not from here, but not wearing any team stuff at all. He's not wearing a visitor's jersey or hat, and he's not wearing the home team visitor hat. Just completely collared shirt, as if he that's kind of suspicious.
Sorry, I know that wasn't part of it. I know it just came out.
Great.
It came out yesterday.
It's one of the best things that's happened in college football the last year and a half. Well, everyone was making a big deal about that. The South's reaction was just like, what? Guys, why is this a thing? Why is this a big deal? We've known about it.
I guess we'll have to make sure nobody catches us. I don't know. Nobody's caught us for 20 years.
Yeah, we catch each other. and nobody cares. No one reports it. So dumb.
So petty.
So dumb.
Sorry, I had to bring that up.
So off track, but that's okay. But yeah, no, the NIL thing. Yeah. There are going to be more kids that are just staying. Oh, that story's so good, though. Just laughing with the NFL representative in the room. Just yeah, that's not enough money. Literally, we get a third of that money just from the Toyota dealership in the area. He's staying in college.
Right. Which, I mean,
we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you. The last thing they said, and I do have this quoted, was we'll talk to you next year.
Yeah. So, speaking of the NIL, though, do you think it is affecting the play of the players? So, for example, I believe it was Brady that mentioned this in his interview. He was talking about how players are so quick to get the dollar, and they're losing valuable, time with coaches because they keep switching. Again, I'll bring up Archie Manning again. He's a perfect example for me. You stay with one coach, Steve Sarkisian, who's going to work with Arch. He's going to figure out what you don't do well. We build our base with him. We're going to work through everything. He's going to know the same offense instead of some of these kids who are going year to year to year to different coaches. Do you think this is something that is going to hurt the players potentially in the long run? Yes. Where, hey, okay, I'm going to go here because I'm going to make an extra $2 million. I don't play as well because I'm not used to the system. The coaching isn't as good. And suddenly I went from being almost a surefire first-round pick to now I'm a fourth-round pick.
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I do think it'll hurt some progress. But at the same time, the cream rises to the top. The people who understand, just like life, the people who are, know how to not be dysfunctional are going to cry. They'll figure it out.
Right.
I think the guys with the guys who care the most, the guys who just get it in life, get it in football and all that kind of stuff, they're going to understand it and they're going to try and stay in one place.
Obviously, if you're
I think a lot of the guys who are going to transfer a million times and all that, you're going to find out, they had personality issues anyway.
Right. I mean, obviously, it's not going to affect
issues.
It's not going to affect the athletic pass rusher coming off the edge.
Yeah.
But a quarterback, it could definitely affect. It could affect maybe an offensive lineman, cohesion
I'm just saying the people who are doing that, I think there was probably already a pre-existing issue that would have, shown itself eventually in the NFL, just not being as dedicated, lack of work ethic, that kind of stuff. But no, it will hurt development. It definitely will. USC, LSU. Both Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly get put in cultures and situations that were very different from what they came from, and they're both kind of in similar situations. USC's is a little different because Lincoln didn't really like flush out everyone's from Southern California, and there's also like Southern California is not like you can come from anywhere. You know, like, yeah, you have to recruit the base very good, and Lincoln needed to do a better job of like connecting with the local people. But it is a little different. They've always sort of done things on a national scale. The fan base is a little bit national as well. So Lincoln's issues are more just hasn't won enough. Whereas Brian's, as like I said, you wanted to come in and do it your way, and it didn't work right away. And they know what wins there. They know that building that fence around the state, getting guys who understand the culture, understand the football culture, have played there, have played in the state, have grown up in it. You get those guys and you keep the talent in the state, you can win national championships. That's why Brian Kelly has this issue right now. And while I think he is correcting course, it becomes, is he going to be given enough time to correct course because of the mistakes that were made? And Lincoln's weird. It's just weird.
I mean, it's funny, too, because the other similarity is they both came from places you don't normally leave either.
Yeah.
You don't normally leave Oklahoma or Notre Dame. You don't.
No.
And so, of course, those expectations are massive. It is, even more similar is both have quarterbacks that won Heisman's. Had abysmal defenses. Lincoln Riley has never had a great defense. We know that. But again, LSU not having a good defense was shocking to me. It is similar. I do think Lincoln Riley has a bit more leeway than Brian Kelly. Checking ESPN's rankings for top schools, USC is number 1 in recruiting right now, which is, I think he already has another 5-star quarterback coming in the wings. So it's. I think Lincoln Riley has been setting himself up, at least, I think, for success. Again, he has more leeway at USC because, again, USC is not as into it as LSU, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But again, I think one of the things Lincoln Riley at USC needs to do, or maybe he's already started doing it, is Pete Carroll was phenomenal at this. Lean into the Hollywood stuff. Lean into the... again, the Pete Carroll was like, oh, we had Snoop Dogg's at practice one day. We had this actor here. We had this rapper here. And then now with NIL, you don't have to worry about them being an issue being there. Lean into that type of stuff. Players respond to, oh, I get to meet this guy. I get to meet that guy. Oh, this guy's going to watch me play. Lean into that. That is something nobody else has in that arena. But yeah, they're both. I think Brian Kelly doesn't make the playoffs. He's gone. I don't think there's any question in my doubt. Even if he makes the playoffs, if he gets beaten in the first round, it's bad. I question if he stays or not. I think Lincoln Riley, even if he doesn't make the playoffs, all right, you're going to still get one more year. You're still going to get.
Yeah, well, USC, it's just not as rabid. The fan base and the expectation. Nor should it be because they weren't even doing that well before Lincoln got there. Right. I mean, it went off the rails with at O, but like they had won a national championship just 2 years before that. So
yeah,
like LSU was damn good.
Right.
USC has been a problem for a while.
And let's not say.
I think the other issue that Lincoln has though is I think he went there not feeling that he could just sort of coach. He was going to dominate the Pac-12. He was going to dominate the recruiting. And then they moved to the Big Ten, and the competition got way stiffer than what he expected.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. He won't ever admit this publicly, but one of my thoughts was when he left Oklahoma was he didn't want to be in the SEC.
Oh, I don't think he did either.
Like that was just like,
I 100% think that was a large part of it.
And then the next year, USC, we're going to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's not any better either.
Yeah. I think Lincoln has now been forced to just have to care more about the recruiting and building up the identity from a national perspective when it comes to recruiting and all that kind of stuff.
And the defense. I mean, again,
and not be able to be a nerd in his room and draw up plays.
Right.
Because the competition got greater.
Look, I have this other 5-star quarterback and these great wide receivers. Let me play with them. No, now you got to worry about, Michigan coming and punching you in the mouth. Oh, Ohio State is just as good offensively as you. Now
You're just going to have to upgrade your defensive recruiting, man. Like you can't just You can't be getting 3-star guys and make do, because now you're going to play a Penn State or a Michigan or Ohio State or 2 of them in the same season. Whereas before, it was, I will dominate the recruiting. The only one who will be in my field is Oregon. I'll play them once a year, maybe twice at a championship game. And other than that, I'm going to out-talent everybody. So I think that's Lincoln's problem, but he's got plenty of time. And the other one is, he's just, I don't know. He's just, at times, just doesn't seem like he cares.
I mean, I think the personality is so much different. Like, you watch Lincoln Riley, he's not doing anything. He's kind of, so easygoing. And Brian Kelly, he just annoys the hell out of me.
I know he does.
Like the bright face, red, yelling at the poor quarterback.
He at least fits Louisiana better than Lincoln fits Southern California, though. Like, Lincoln does not fit culturally there at all. And I think it's a problem.
Where do you think he would fit? What do you think Oklahoma was
I think
perfect?
Oklahoma was perfect. Small town, just, it's all about the football. It's all about, we don't need to be flashy. We don't need to, the other thing with Lincoln is he, like, wants to control everything. And it's like, dude, you're in Southern California. You can't control that. No. He's controlling when media can come in. Refuses to do a media day on a certain time and it's like, Lincoln, it's LA, bro. Like, you can't control that stuff.
But you get away with it.
Honestly, you know what? If you stop trying to control it, even if someone saw something at practice, or you said something that got major pushback, it would only be a big story for 24 hours. But the fact that you're, like, trying to control everything, and you're telling the media that they can't be in, they can't have access on this day or at that time, that's like making it a bigger deal than it would have been, even if they found something out that you didn't like.
Maybe.
Because, like I said, it's LA, bro. Like, but it's busy. Like, that news cycle would have been done in 24 hours.
But that's the thing. Well, that's my point with LA. Like, there's so much there. I mean, you have arguably the best organization in sports with the Dodgers. You have the Lakers, who are always in the news for something. And LeBron. Like, it's so easy to just kind of blend in and not have to.
Exactly. And that's what he could do at small town Oklahoma. And you know what? If he stopped trying to control everything, he could do it in LA too, just in a different way.
Yeah.
In the, like I said, something's a big story, 24 hours, it's gone. It's over. They've moved on to the next thing. But when you're trying to control everything, you're pissing media people off, then you've put a target on your back a little bit. And you've just made it a story week in and week out. So even if there's nothing there to talk about, you're making everyone.
But it is funny. One last thing I do want to say, though, is, we were just talking about Big Ten versus SEC to start the show. Both these programs I feel like, need to pick it up for their respective conferences. Mm-hmm. And yes, SEC is deeper. We get that. But after after Georgia, yes, Texas is really good. They're doing great. There's still questions about Texas. Every other SEC major program, whether it's Bama, A&M, Florida, all these other teams, there's so many questions about them. They need one of these. They need LSU to kind of be LSU. The Big Ten really could use USC to be USC.
The Big Ten needs USC.
Because then that was
part of the reason I'm shitting on the Big Ten so much is because
But it's not just
USC can't even break into the thing. So you're still only Oregon and Ohio State.
But it's not even just about playing on the field. It's just the market and the media of it's LA. It's the second biggest market. We want that for revenue because you know what? That's what the TV networks are paying for. So we can help keep paying for all these other things, and having that LA market, having a good team in LA, especially such a national team, would be wonders for the Big Ten.
Yeah. Do you know what I actually think also in a weird way helps Lincoln Riley? Is how horrible Caleb Williams was in the NFL. Because I feel like some of the thought processes now, Lincoln, we brought him in to be like this offensive guru and genius, but Caleb just freelanced all the time. So like it was a weird, in some ways, there's a chance they might be a little bit better with Caleb gone now, that he can get someone who would just run his offense and his plays.
Yeah, because I feel like Caleb actually got worse his second year at
I
USC.
Definitely think he got worse.
I know they lost a lot of offensive talent too.
Yeah.
But he seemed like he got worse, and it's funny because you look at Lincoln's track record. Baker Mayfield, Heisman winner, #1 overall pick. I had Kyle Murray, Heisman winner, number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I had Jalen Hurts, Heisman finalist, and yes, he went in the second round. But Jalen Hurts had his best year in college at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Not Nick Saban.
So, and then when Caleb goes to the NFL and is as bad as he is his first year, I feel like that reflects well on Lincoln.
Did you see the video of Caleb Williams in the net?
Yes, I did.
That was hilarious.
Listen, I'm not talking about the NFL thing. I am not hype on the Bears the way everybody else is. I do not think it's going to work that well.
I don't either.
I already don't like the noise coming out of that camp. I think Ben Johnson is a little
in over his head.
Yeah.
Full of himself.
Yes. But anyway, all right. We're going to finish up. We're going to skip the Bill thing. We got it. We'll talk about it during the season, I'm sure, at some
The
point.
hoodie.
The hoodie.
In Chapel Hill.
Let's finish this. What coaches do you believe are under the most pressure this year? You can give me 3.
Well, Brian Kelly is the first one. I've been saying that the entire show.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's an easy one. I will say Bill Napier from Florida as well. I don't think it's necessarily anything he's done, but I do think that fan base gets impatient. I do think, they're going to sit there and go, well, it's the SEC East, if it's still the East, but it's still, we feel like you should be doing better than this. We don't like how Miami is starting to possibly gain some traction in the state. Florida State's suddenly taking a giant nosedive somewhat. I mean, they're still highly thought of and they're still actually doing decently recruiting, but it's still like this should be Florida's time to kind of shine in that state. Haha, Sunshine State. So I think Bill Napier is one that could unfortunately kind of be on the hot seat. And the other one, James Franklin.
Thank you.
I know you're number 2 in the country. You were picked ahead of Ohio State to win the Big Ten, even though you've never done it. They have won the Big Ten. I get it, but it wasn't at the year like Michigan or Ohio State was banned from playing.
Yeah, I think
in
so. Yeah.
So it's like Franklin needs to make the national title game. I don't know if he necessarily has to win it, but he's got to make it. You can't have this giant blunder like he had in Notre Dame. Like,
I'm not even saying, I don't even think he has to win the national champion or be in the national championship, but he's got to win a big game. And when I say a big game, like he's got to win over a blue blood program, whether it's the Big Ten championship, whether it's a playoff matchup, he has got to win a game against another blue blood. And I think coming in the year, I'm glad you said it too, because that's my number 1.
James Franklin.
I think James Franklin is under the most pressure this season. Drew Aller comes back again. We all think he's got the talent to be an NFL quarterback. They actually didn't have a ton of people drafted because a lot of them were young and came back. All the pieces are here. Ohio State loses 14 different people, all right? You get your quarterback. This is the guy that this has been what everyone said Penn State was missing for years. You get him now in here. Is this his 3rd year, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he was starting the whole time his first season, but still. His 3rd year there, the best quarterback talent that James Franklin has ever had, especially at Penn State. If it's not this year, then when the hell is it going to be?
Exactly.
You have to win a big game. Again, you're saying that being a national championship. I don't even think it has to be that. But they can't win all these games, have a good record, playoff, but lose the Big Ten championship to Ohio State. The minute they face a blue blood in the playoff, lose that game. And making the semifinal last year didn't do anything because you beat Boise State and SMU to get there. Well, he didn't answer a single question.
I mean, my problem with them losing to Notre Dame wasn't the fact that they lost to Notre Dame, because we turns out Notre Dame was actually really effing good last year. It turns out they were actually really good last year. It was how you lost it. It was, okay, Notre Dame tied it. It was about a minute to go in the game. All right, we're going to run the football. It looks like we're going to run the clock out. Okay, we gain check yards. Now we're going to suddenly go for it. And then we throw this terrible interception.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just the lack of preparedness of being ready for a moment like that of what are we going to do? And it killed them and it killed their season.
And again, that's the questions with James. We know you can recruit. We know you can build a program. But when it comes to being in the big games, situations, scheme, all that kind of stuff, you leave a lot to be desired. And you haven't won a big game yet. And so I do think James Franklin to me is under the most pressure. I'll go Kalen DeBoer Also, I think DeBoer's under a ton of pressure.
Yeah, I didn't want to pick the low-hanging fruit one.
With all with some of the losses they had last year, with all the guys who came back, with the fact that Kalen's even said before, like they told the organization, the brass, everyone the excuses for last year, and Kalen's like, we have everything in my control now. All right, it's all on you then now. So they gotta be really good. I think those two are the guys that are probably under the most pressure to me coming into this football season. After that, I'll be honest, I don't really know if I have a third yet.
I mean, I think there could be a case for Sark.
Yes.
Just because of the amount of hype and pressure on this season. But it would have to be a disaster. Like if they don't make the playoffs, that would be a fireable offense. But I don't think they would want to necessarily ruin the momentum he has to just start over. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I think the third one, I'm probably going to go Brent Venables. And again, it's not like he has to make a playoff or anything, but like it can't be as bad as it's been the last 2 years.
Right.
And you can't look this anemic an offense. Like you can't win 6 games again. You got to show some serious progress. You better be ranked at the end of the season. We want at least one big win over a ranked team. And you need to be 8 or 9 wins at least. Or it's not just question marks. It's you will be fired. Like I do think he will 100% be fired. James Franklin, I don't know if he'd be fired, but he'd be a lot closer to getting fired.
I mean,
Kalen DeBoer, I don't know if he'd be fired, but he'd be very close to getting fired. 100% Venables is fired if they win like 6 games again.
Especially if they're as anemic on offense as they were last year.
And also, it's like he's not James Franklin and he's not DeBoer. Like his buyout's not some crazy, They can move on pretty quickly and it's not punitive.
Right.
So, all right. So that has been it then for the college football preview. Like I said, 1 week away from the start. LSU Clemson, who you picking?
Clemson. I'm sorry, I don't trust LSU in these big 1 week openers.
I'm sorry, who has Clemson beaten the last year and a half? And I like Cade Klubnik a lot. I think they're going to be really good. But, I went back and thought about this, and I was like, who the hell has Clemson even played or beaten? I almost lost to SMU.
Yeah, you're not being biased at all or anything with this, are you? Now, again, I look at LSU's history in week 1. It's not good. It's not good.
The law of averages says they have to win in week 1 eventually.
We're really good, We lost focus or whatever it was.
41-17 LSU.
That's a joke,
They're
right?
Stomping all over them.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Okay.
Clemson's
defense is going to be really good.
No, it's going to be a damn good game. I from everyone that I've picked Clemson for the most part.
Okay.
But I will reverse course. LSU wins narrowly and opens up the season finally with a big win. They go on the road after and fall flat on their face.
Maybe. I would not put it past them.
But anyway, that has been it for the college football preview, guys. Have a great rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen.